Here's your boy. Check this out. This is the new housing section. This is a subdivision. So what that means is the main plot of this entire Razor Wind Shores has already been occupied on plot set number 1. So subdivision 0, if you will. All the ones that have this little icon mean somebody is there. Mine is right here. This little weird swirly icon. That's one of my friends. And then all the rest of these that have just the houses are empty. And what happens is the first plot fills up and then you have to go to a second plot. This is the second plot. I found a couple houses. I'm on my 7th or 8th house at this point, and I've settled on the one on the shoreline. I really like it, but I've modified it a few times. So the thing about this is it's super easy to get into once you understand the basics. And the basics are, you open up this little housing dashboard here at the bottom, and this is my housing level. I'm basically maxed out for now. You start all the way at level 1, and this is what you get: 910 quote-unquote item numbers. Not everything in the game is listed as 1. Some pieces are like 5 or 6 or whatever the case is, and you have to budget that in. And then your room placement. Now, some of the rooms are like 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. Some of them are like 16, so you can only have like one giant room. And then as you level this up, you get obviously more room on the inside and outside to fiddle with shit. And then as you go up, so this is what's going to be cool. When Midnight releases, you're going to get a daylight circle room. I don't know what it looks like because I haven't been in beta, but basically I think it's going to be an open air room with constant sunshine, which is kind of cool. And then as you level this up, you get a different room opening up to you. And then you get the midnight version, which is kind of cool. So it'll be like nighttime with a moon. And then I'm basically maxed out, so I can't get any further. These are some of the decor pieces that you can get. Let me change this to collected. You can see some of the random shit that I've got. So this is a floor mat, but here's the thing. A lot of people take this floor mat and they minimize it down. And you turn them into like playing cards or like table mats, that kind of stuff. And some of this stuff can only be placed on the inside, some of it can only be placed on the outside. It's a little wonky right now because it's still technically in pre-release, if you will. So a lot of the fire can only be inside, even though it's technically like it should be a bonfire. But so as you go down the list, it's not really categorized in this big list here, but it's categorized here on the left. So you got furnishings, seating, tables, storage, beds, and then miscellaneous. Back, you got structure and accents. So accents is kind of cool. So you got ornamental stuff. So you got like banners that you can hang on the wall, mirrors, etc. And then this is from like class halls. This is from the Paladin class hall, these 3 things. Then you've got posters, or, portraits, if you will, other stuff, curtains. You can dye a lot of this stuff different colors too. You've got food and drink. I think I have more food than this, but it's in my house, which you'll see shortly. And now that's my plot right in front of us there. It's kind of hard to see the details on it because I'm so far away, but I wanted to be on the beach area. At one point, I was actually this plot here, and it was cool, but I was like, I want something a little bit different. So I moved over to this plot, which I thought was really cool. And I was like, well, I want something a little bit different as well. What's crazy is there was actually somebody living on this plot yesterday. They've moved. So you can go to any plot you want, and if it's not occupied, you just go over here and you're like, yeah, let's fuck it, move the house. And it costs 1,000 gold. So it's not that bad. And so when you move the house, the entire plot are basically mirrored across every other plot, so they're all technically like a square. So all of your outside decor transfers over exactly as it was laid out on the place you were at, if you will. And then, like I said, this is one of my friends. We were doing the whole like, oh yeah, we'll check my house out in the beginning. This is the horde house that she has, and she gave up. She decided to make an alliance house, which is way cooler. And I'll show you that shortly as well. But yeah, you can get all sorts of cool stuff like this canopy. You can turn stuff into things of whatever you like. It doesn't have to be the structure of what it is, if that makes sense. You can take a table and you can turn it into stairs. You can take a pillow and you can turn it into a step, that kind of stuff. You can get super creative. And then I didn't put any plants on my outer area because it's already got some trees. But you can plant trees and you can go all sorts of crazy. I kind of have a basic house, but I think it's fun. So this is my plot. Got a giant windmill that I got from High Mountain in Legion. You can actually you can size these. You can make them smaller or larger. Bricks, because it's fun. Got my little well. Got my chicken coop. I planted these so you can get like grass, flowers, cactus, etc. Over here, I've got my gazebo with my little hookah. I don't know, it's what it looked like. It was cool. And then I've got my little fire pit with some cheese. Got my jacuzzi, spa. Over here I got my boat, hiding behind my little fence that I made. And then here's what's funny. I got my little bed here. For those, beautiful sunsets, if you will. Alright, so that's the outside. You can place decor like this little mailbox is a piece, the flamingo's a piece, the well, and everything you see basically is a piece. Then I've got kites, which is kind of cool. This here is from Mechagon, I believe it's called, the one from Battle for Azeroth, that whole like area where everything's all robots and shit. You can actually customize the outside of the house too. I made it to where I've got 3 different pillars. So I've got a back one, 2 side ones. You can do one here as well, or you can do windows. You can actually change these as well to like chimneys, if you will, and then you can change the front door. It's very, very limited. And then I've got my dartboard, if you will, as a door decor. Alright, so this is my entryway. It's kind of basic, and it's kind of, you look at it and you're just like, oh, it's all the same. So my doorway, this portal here is actually my exit. So I have the door hiding behind this. I'll show you. You can actually take that, you can minimize it, you can actually put the door wherever you like, which is kind of fun. So I'm going to put this back, and I'm going to go ahead and go to advanced mode, go to rotate, and then just like it was, you never knew I was here. Got my little book sign in for my guests. So these little eyes, I actually made these out of something else. I thought that was kind of cool. Oh, and yeah, don't mind my transmog. It's fucking sweet. Alright, you can actually take these and you can turn them into windows. I'll show you that in another room, but you can rotate these. These are actually upside down from what they're supposed to be. They're normally supposed to be where the tri-piece is at the bottom. And then you can actually dye the outer area. So I dyed these black and I dyed these red. You can change the floor, you can change the wall, you can change the beams, you can change the ceiling. So this is the first room. This is kind of just like a living room area. It's all basic, got a bunch of books everywhere. It's very symmetrical, if you will. Like it all looks kind of the same no matter which direction. And what's cool is you can have these hidden bookcase, and then you can have a door hiding behind it. This is where I keep the bedroom. Again, very basic. I would get bored and I would tear down and recreate from scratch at like 2 in the morning. So my creative juices were absolutely at 0. But these couches are normally supposed to be blue. These chairs, I don't remember if they're red. I think they are. But then I've got all sorts of random decor from around the world. And I tried to keep it, as simple as possible. And then here's the restroom with another jacuzzi, a bathtub. And I like to keep these in the water. It looks cool. I've got my custom toilet paper roll, which I made. Got my mirror, got my sink. And this, I think is hilarious. Got some doo-doo up in that toilet. Oh no, someone needs to flush. Gross. And you can actually take anything that's a seat and you can put it inside of another item. So say, for example, you've got a barrel and you can put a seat inside the barrel. And you can click on that barrel and it thinks it's a seat, so you're actually sitting on the barrel, which is cool. There's going to be a lot more interaction when Midnight releases, but for now it's kind of limited. So people get super, super creative. All right, so that's the bedroom / living room / bathroom. And this is my night elf, or my blood elf area. So if you notice, the walls and stuff are kind of like rustic out here. And then as soon as you walk in here, boom, it's all like blood elf and whatever that city is. Like, I forget. I've got more of the portraits. These are from class hall. This is the warrior class hall, the demon hunter class hall. Then I've got a food tray because got myself a little church. And that's the paladin class hall thing. Paladin class hall, paladin class hall, death knight class hall. And then I just kind of want to make it a little basic, which is kind of cool. And then over here, I've got an extension of that with a war throne. And this is from running Siege of Orgrimmar raid, the one from the Pandaria, I believe, or no, Battle for Azeroth, or Warlords of Draenor. I don't know, one of the old expansions. You can actually run the old raid, and this is a drop from the last boss. And you can run it as many times as you want. It's just a really long raid. And this is a under construction room, so it's basically just empty. But so what this room is this is a stairwell room with no stairs. So it's super, super tall. And you can see I just kind of did one wall just to fiddle. Now, when you have a room like this, the doorway automatically carries over to the following room, which is why this door looks like Blood Elf, but the wall does not. So what I did over here is I took a doorway and additional fake walls, and I made it overlay this. Otherwise it would look like this on the other side. Now over here is my, oh yeah, got my Horde banner. And I really like these lamps. This is my kitchen. I decided to get a little basic, but I thought a little creativity would be fun. So I've got my drinks over here, got my food over there, the basic spices. This is just like a cold food section, if you will. Got my recipe book. You can size the portraits as well. So this is actually 200%, and you can shrink stuff down. And this is all random decor. Like everything you see is basically its own separate piece. Like this section here with the fruit is on top of a table. And then over here I've got, kind of hard to see what it is, but it looks like a veggie plate. And then we've got breads, sausages, cheese. I shaped these down to be cups. They're normally barrels. And then over here I've got my Chinese food. Got my dumplings, got my whatever that is. So there's the window that I made. So you can take these square windows and turn them around, and then they become see-through. And then so this beam at the bottom I added, because this is just technically a doorway to another room. And that is another room back there. And then if you look up, well, you can't really see too easy, but I did skylighting instead of wall lighting. And then this is my hot section. So I've got all my hot food over here. Got my kebabs, chicken, my lobster, got my cupboard. These are actually cool. So they're interactive. I don't know why I can't click on it, but because I don't have cooking trained on this character. So if you click on these, if you have cooking trained, it actually opens up the cooking profession, which is cool. So some of this stuff is interactive. So you can click on this and it'll turn off the fire, which is cool. And then same thing with the lights. Well, in some cases, not all lights, I suppose. Like that one you can. And so these are the windows that I used. Like I said, if you take these and you rotate them completely around, they become see-through, and then that's how you create the fake outdoor window. And then I wanted this room to be like a cabin build, the floor and the wall different, like all stone versus all fancy in here. All right, so this is my Horde house. Now let me show you the Alliance house, which is basically a work in progress. Nothing really going on with it, but you can have two. So if you have an Alliance character, you can open up and create your own Alliance house and vice versa. And the reason I want to show you this is because the plots are different. The Horde houses are based off of like the orc design, and you can fiddle with a little bit, like the coloring, the wall style on the outside, not too much though. And then this is the Alliance one. It's very basic. I haven't done really anything over here. I just use this as a template for one on board. You can matter of fact, let me show you that. So you can come here, go to edit, then here, you can actually add like chimneys and shit. That kind of thing. But since we're on a slope roof, it's a little difficult, so we're going to go back to none. And then over here, we're going to change the roof to a square roof. Or to a simple. Or sloped. So these are the three options that you get. There's going to be more later. And then here's where you can change the color of the actual roof itself. And then the wall type. So right now it's on stucco, stonework. Don't really get a lot of options. Now it automatically changes the door location, which I guess is fine. But if you come over here, you can actually rechange your doorway wherever you want. So depending on the shape of the house and how you like it. And then up at the top, it's kind of fun. You could add this giant silly tower. Or these are the tower types. Very basic. But more is coming. So night elf houses are coming as opposed to the human houses in midnight. You can have different chimneys too. And these you can change out the sideway for different style windows, which is cool. Now here's one of the cool things that you can actually do. It was a bug and Blizzard turned it into a feature, which is kind of rare, but it happened. So you can take the house, you go to advanced mode, and go to move. Now watch this. You can actually levitate the house and go to wherever the heck you want. So at one point I got really bored over here and I levitated the house super, super high. And I put a bunch of bricks on the bottom and then I had a fountain upside down. And it was fine. It looked cool, but I was like, nah, put it back to normal. But yeah, you can change the height of the house. So basically what people do is they put a bunch of boulders down on the ground. Matter of fact, let me see, what would that be under? I think under structural. So you can take these and you can place these and then say I want to go 200%. So now I can actually use this as a platform, inside or outside. So I can actually take this and then take the house and then slide it underneath. And now there you go. And you can do the same thing for the entire section underneath the house. And then it can be like a raised platform situation if you want. And then what I wanted to show you guys is one of the neighbors over here has a crazy looking house. It looks like a watchtower, a lighthouse. Look at this. So basically what these are, those are doors. And he took the Alliance house, kind of made it as basic as you could, put it on the rock platform, and now, if you look down here, this bubbling water is actually from a fountain that he has hidden. And this is a barrel with a different top. So you can walk up here. And the aesthetics of the house basically stay of what it looks like on the outside versus what it is on the inside. This is kind of like not a house you live in, but just something to do for fun. This guy was pretty creative, I like it. And then, I'll show you. Alright, so now we're in the house. And we walk up the tower. And he has a little hidden room. I forget, there it is, it's right here. You can actually create this ladder. And this is kind of his little study area with the bed, which is kind of cool. He's got his little desk, his books. Miniature version of my fireplace I have in the cook area. Because again, you can scale down anything or scale anything up that you want. Alright. And then back up. He was using coffin tops as stairs. I don't know why, but maybe it was easier. Different window types, those are cool. All the way up to the top of the tower here. Boom. Now this is a gazebo that I have outside of my horde house. He just basically scaled it down and it's on top of a barrel. So again, you can get creative with shit. And then he's got blue rugs to try and simulate the sky. And he's got a bunch of trees and stuff scaled down to try and look like the with scenery outside, which is kind of cool. So yeah, this isn't the most creative, but it is pretty creative, and I thought it was, pretty fun to show off. Then, actually, I'll go back to see if I have a cooldown. Nope. Oh, I do. 9 minutes on the horde house. Bummer. Well, so that's basically WoW housing in a nutshell, but I didn't show you guys any of the creative stuff. So one sec, let me get back to the house. Now again, the inside of mine is pretty empty because I'm just using it as a template. So I just wanted to make a little miniature little cabin situation, and I haven't decided quite how I want to place the furniture just yet. So yeah, so let's go to scale. This is a 200%. Normal size of this fireplace is that. You can actually shrink it all the way down to a tiny little one like this if you wanted to use the accent of it in some capacity, which is kind of fun. And then same thing with the bed, 200%. Don't worry about clipping. Clipping is actually something that you want to do for some cases. So like if you want to use something as a foothold or a step, you would take something that's not normally shaped that way and then clip it through the walls so it's perfectly sticking out to be that way. And then over here, I was going to add another room here, but I haven't done that yet. So in order to do that, you just open up the floor plan. And then you can see all the furniture I have laid out. It's very simple to see, like if you had to reference what was in what room. So over here, I can add room. And then let's say I'm going to add a stairwell left. And then let's say over here, I'm going to add a giant square room. And over here, an octagon. Now, those are in place. So I come over here, here's the stairwell. You can actually change the way that the stairs look, which is kind of fun. So for that, you go to Edit and Customize. Click on it. Right now, it's under Folk. You can actually change the hue of the folk, which is cool, but it keeps the same design. Now, this is more of the Night Elf design, the Bel Ameth. And then the folk, I'm not sure exactly what this is supposed to be. It's just super basic. And then you got generic, which is hilarious. And then rugged, which looks more like a druid house, which is kind of fun. And then you can go to silver mode, and then it looks like the blood elves. And what's nice is you can actually make it to where just the stairs of that, or you can change the wall and do the same thing. If you click on this, it applies all the walls around you, so you don't have to do it to every single one manually. And then you can do different wall types as well. To make it look super weird. Because it's like gray bricks with blood elf stuff. Looks odd. And you can change the hue of it as well. You can change the doorway. So standard requires an actual door. Wide does not. Now here's the giant room, which is fucking cool. Because basically what people do is they start as this, and then from here they essentially make walls and then make rooms. So under structural walls, you can come over here, you can create a doorway. You can clip it if you want, doesn't matter. You can scale it, size it, rotate it, whatever, doesn't matter. So say you want a doorway there. As soon as you walk in, boom, you've got a doorway. And then what do? You can take the different size walls and you can do the same thing along the way. There you go. Now you've got yourself a section of this room that is now separate. What's that? I think it's clipping from the other room. That's funny. Then over here is the octagon room, which is kind of cool. So what people do is they take this and then they section from here to here, and they outfit this kind of like what I did in the kitchen as plants and stuff. And then it looks like this is just a solid wall and you're looking outside, which is cool. So here's the different window types. So you've got like that, which is very bright, very uniform looking. But here's the thing. Like I said, if you take it and you rotate it, it now becomes, oh my gosh, come on, see-through. And you can actually see through it. So you use this as the window to see outside. There's an example there. You can see through it when it's rotated, but if you go back this way, it's not. It's illuminated. And it's one of the only ones that you can do that with. You can't do that with some of these other lamps. So like this one, you can't. You just make it to where it looks like it's off. So here, not really the same. It's very bluish, but you can see through it. And then, like I said, this is the default style of the one I had in my other house. That's just straight up flat in the back. Now, what's cool is you can actually use this as like the nose of something if you wanted to get creative on that. And then another thing too, you can change the ceiling to a vaulted and change the beam type as well. The blood moon looks awesome. So you can get super, super creative when it comes to this stuff. And what's nice is you can actually create anything anywhere. So you can take the window and you can put it on the roof as kind of like a skylight. And then back to this, take this, and you can actually rotate it and make it into a wall, or just simply move it around the room, whatever the case is. But you can turn it into a wall. Just, go 90%. You can use it as a ledge or a room stop, if you will. It doesn't have to be a floor piece. And some of the accents, some of the books float, which is cool. So you can have yourself a nice little library with stuff like this. If you type in books, it'll show you all the book types that you have. Floating books, that's from the Mage Legion class hall. And now say I don't want this to be anything of what I did. Fine. Come over here, go to edit floor plan, right click, left click rather, remove room. Now what that does is it takes all decor that I have in that room and it puts it right back in my inventory. And then you can basically start over with just this, just an entryway. So now I've literally just got this. This is all the housing that I have. Well, I hope that was a quick and dirty introduction. There's a lot more to it, obviously, but if you wanted to get a little more into it, I think it's definitely something to play with and get your creative juices when you're bored. I'm not all that creative, so this was kind of like I'll play with it enough, but there we go. So hopefully this was a cool little tour. Leave me feedback. Haha. Talk to you guys soon.